Mr. President, this is a common sense amendment that calls for prioritizing investments to tackle a really important issue for cities and towns across our country, especially those that were hardest hit by the housing crisis. Main streets, unfortunately, across our country have become littered with abandoned and blighted properties. In Ohio, by the way, there are about 80,000 of these abandoned homes, hundreds of thousands, of course, across the country. I've had the opportunity to walk the streets of some of our cities in Ohio with some of the far-sighted mayors who are tackling this issue. They're looking for a little help. I've been in Warren, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, Lima, Ohio, and when you walk these streets and talk to the people in the neighborhood, they let you know how they're feeling about this. They don't like these blighted properties, in part because it reduces the home values for the whole neighborhood. In fact, there's some evidence out there that these blighted properties can cost neighbors up to 80% of their home value. So one of the best things you can do for tumbling home values in America right now in struggling neighborhoods is to demolish these abandoned properties. Second, and this is really important, they become magnets for crime, for arson, for other dangerous activities that put neighbors at risk, that put first responders at risk. There are stories around the country, and unfortunately in my home state of Ohio, where some first responders, firefighters have gone to a fire in an abandoned structure and actually been injured and in one case lost their lives. So this is something that neighbors feel strongly about. When I was in Toledo with the mayor of Toledo observing one of the demolitions, it was a house that was about 10 feet away from a neighboring home, and the mother was there with some of her young children, and she said, "Thank goodness this is happening, because every night I go to sleep, I put my head on my pillow praying that the house next door is not going to be subject to the arson attacks that have happened around the city of Toledo in these abandoned structures, and praying that my children are not going to be injured by an arson next door to me." So this is critical that we provide this help. Land banks in these areas have done a terrific job. Cleveland in particular, I will hold up, is doing a great job. But in states like mine, other manufacturing states, states like Florida, states like Michigan and other states around the country, these land banks are doing the best they can, but they need additional resources to demolish many of these properties in order to help struggling neighborhoods recover. This has been a bipartisan issue. We've been able to direct some funding there, including from the hardest hit funds. I want to continue to make progress on this because it is so important, again, for our neighborhoods, for the safety of those people who live in these neighborhoods that are affected most directly by abandoned homes. I hope that we can get support from both sides of the aisle for this amendment today and make it clear to those local officials across our country and to those neighbors in these communities that we are going to do what we can to help provide the resources to be able to deal with these blighted and abandoned structures. Thank you, Mr. President. With that, I yield back my time.